Hey, what is happening, you hairy hunter? Today we're taking a look at some new Destined Rivals cards that were revealed over the weekend at Champions League Miyagi. There was also a couple other cards that have been released over the last couple weeks that I'll talk about as well. Give you all my thoughts on those. Before we jump into it though, big shout out to Dragon Shield, as always, being a sponsor here with my content here on the YouTube channel, as well as a competitor and player in the Pokemon TCG. They got a ton of high quality premium gaming accessories, but of course I personally love them for their matte sleeves. And if you're looking for some color recommendations, I'm a big fan of the magentas, big fan of the tangerines. They got a couple new colors out as well, so be sure to check those out. You can see it all at dragonshield.com. Link, of course, will be in the description, and code AzulGG will get you a discount over there as well. All right, let's get into it. So we've already seen some of these cards, a couple new ones to talk about. I think, where do I want to start? Honestly, I think we should start from the top down, and if there's any kind of combo that comes up that I forgot about, we'll talk about those instead. Moltres EX. That's not Moltres EX. Moltres EX. Oh, that's right. This thing has to go through. All right, Moltres EX. I'll have to go like this instead. Whenever I click on a card, for some reason it pops up with a different card. Moltres EX. Rockets Moltres EX. 220 HP. Flame Barrier does 110 for a fire and 2 colorless energy. Your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 less damage from attack. So, pretty bad attack. It is a fire and 2 colorless though, so you can play it with the Team Rocket's energy. And then for fire, colorless, discard 1 Team Rocket's energy from this Pokemon. If you do, discard your opponent's active in all cards attached. So, it's a pretty costly attack. You also don't get any prize cards. You don't put any damage on board. Against certain matchups, though, this would be like actually pretty powerful against decks like Dragapult specifically. Dragapult invests a ton of resources into a single Dragapult, and then usually only uses 2 Dragapults per game. So if you can conveniently or easily discard one of them without having to expend a bunch of resources to KO it, that could be pretty good. So I'm not going to say this attack is terrible. It costing a fire energy seems a little bit awkward, and then obviously 3 colors on top of that makes things really awkward. And attacks like this are pretty bad up against decks like Raging Bolt, for instance, but up against these bigger evolution decks that invest a lot into a single attacker, it could be pretty powerful. I just don't see where you'd ever play this card as far as like expected Rockets decks or like decks that exist currently. We got the Blaziken here. I'll mention this because we do have the Blaziken EX in format, and this Blaziken does synergize pretty well with that Blaziken, because it's a Blaziken, but also its attack for 2 fire and a colorless. Inferno Legs does 120 damage. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. And this attack also does 120 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So snipe attacks are pretty high value right now, but when we do get this Blaziken, Shaming will also be in that set. So it probably won't be quite as good as it could have been if it had been released before Shaman. But another card to combo with Blaziken EX. It's never a bad thing. Blaziken EX continuing to gain more power. I don't think it's reached its peak yet where it's actually super good, but who knows, we might get there eventually. Rockets Articuno here, 120 HP. Resistance Veil, prevent all effects of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks done to your basic Team Rockets Pokemon in play. Damage isn't an effect, so it wouldn't stop the 120 damage from Inferno Legs, but it would stop the damage spread from Dragapult, which I'm going to go ahead and just make a guess that that is what this card is targeted at helping you deal with in the Team Rockets deck. The Resistance Veil is good for that situation specifically. I have to imagine that's why it's here. And then the attack for a colorless or 2 colorless and a water. If this Pokemon already has if this Pokemon has any Team Rocket's energy attached to it, this attack does 60 more damage. So pretty mid attack, not gonna lie, not great. Move along here, we got a Huntail and a Gorebyss. The Huntail here, Diver Catch. Whenever one of your water Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you may put all basic water energy attached to that Pokemon into your hand instead of the discard pile. Then we got the Gorebyss here. This attack does 30 damage for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. Before doing damage, you may attach any number of basic water energy from your hand to this Pokemon. So you see this energy there. It's kind of just like a constantly building up damage turn after turn type deck. One of the problems with these kind of decks, though, where the both stage ones evolve from the basic, is you can like start to run out of the basic, the Clam Pearl here. But theoretically, like, I mean, if by like turn 3, maybe turn 4, you're like 1-hit KOing the 2 prize Pokemon, like Raging Bolts, or even bigger than that, like Dragapults, then at that point you can just snowball the water energy you've built up in play turn after turn and just continuously 1-hit KO those big Pokemon. So I don't know, there could be something here with the Huntail Gorebyss deck. Obviously, it's probably pretty weak up against like Dusknoir decks and Dragapult and stuff like that, but going up against something like a Raging Bolt is probably going to be a free dub, to be honest. Up next, we got the Cetitan EX. 300 HP, stage 1 EX Pokemon here. The Snow Cover ability. Whenever your opponent plays an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to this Pokemon. So pretty powerful ability. We've seen it in the past with Primal Mega Groudon EX. Was it called Primal Mega Groudon EX, or was it just Mega Primal Groudon EX? It was a Mega Evolution, but I think it was just called Primal Groudon EX. We've seen the ability before in the past. It was really good on Groudon, but Groudon had a little bit of, I don't know, more tools in the format to work with than it looks like Cetitan will. So I'm not super hopeful for Cetitan. The attack for triple water on a colorless Crush Press, 140 damage. You may discard a stadium in play. If you do this attack, does 140 more damage. So the way I could see you using this card is early game. You could maybe sit with like a Klefki in your active to slow your opponent down. Use Turbo Energize to set up your Cetitan. You could play the, whatever that tool card is called that says if you get knocked out, you don't get knocked out. And then you discard the tool card. That one. Put the brace, right? Survival brace? Maybe. Put that on the Cetitan. You're surviving. It can't be bossed up in the early game because of the Snow Cover that prevents stuff like Boss or Crushing Hammer or Pokemon Catcher or Prime Catcher. So basically, Cetitan is kind of safe on your bench. Not safe from snipe attacks, but it is safe from being gusted to the active. Get it in the active. You crush press a couple times, maybe. Also, it does have 4 retreat cost, which means you could use Heavy Baton with it. There could be something there with the Heavy Baton. It only shuts down item and supporter cards, though. So that means something like Jamming Tower, a Stadium card, would still be effective against this, shutting down those potentially powerful tool cards that you'd want to put on your Cetitan. So I don't know, it's okay. It'd be cool if it does if it is good, but I'm not holding out too much hope on this one, to be honest. We got the Rockets Zapdos. I'll just read all the Rockets cards, to be honest. For 2 colorless energy, you may move 1 energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their bench Pokemon. Does 30 damage. So that's not bad, especially because it does combo with the Team Rocket's energy for the double colorless cost. And then for lightning double colors, 60 damage plus 60 more damage if there's any Team Rocket's energy attached to this Pokemon. So this has the exact same attack, second attack as the Articuno. The Articuno, of course, has the ability. And Zapdos has that jamming wing attack, but nothing crazy here. We have got the Ampharos line here. The Team Rockets from Reap actually has an okay attack. Search your deck for an item card, reveal it, and put it into your hand for a colorless energy, so not terrible. And even the Flaffy has an okay attack as well. For a lightning and colorless, flip coin of heads, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. It's never bad to just have a paralysis attack on one of your pre-evolutions, but of course it's going to be all about that Rockets Ampharos. When your opponent plays a Pokemon from their hand to evolve one of their Pokemon during their turn, put 4 damage counters on that Pokemon. The effect of Darkest Impulse doesn't stack. So theoretically, you can play this with a lot of TM Devo. You sit there, set up your Ampharos, your opponent starts to evolve their Pokemon, you TM Devo all of them back to their hand. They evolve again, you TM Devo them again. And then when they do it again, you do it again. And then you just repeat that until there's enough damage built up in play where the TM Devo actually KOs them, or you're maybe playing some other kind of attacker or something that's spreading damage, get Badoo involved, maybe make things really, really slow in the early game. I don't know, figure it out. But something like that could work. Of course, TM Devo is your attack for the turn, so you can't attack with Badoo and TM Devo, but slow down the early game until they start evolving, get TM Devo involved. I don't know, probably not. Rockets Ampharos is a little bit more of a meme deck than anything, I think, here. We've talked about Rockets Mewtwo in the past. Of course, we'll be talking about it a little bit more here because it got some new cards to help it out. We got the Rockets Wobbuffet, though, which is a super powerful Rockets card here. It's got that Rocket Mirror for a Psychic and a Colorless. Move all damage count from one of your bench Pokemon, from one of your bench Team Rockets Pokemon, excuse me, to your opponent's active Pokemon. So we've seen attacks like in the past where it mirrors the damage from that's on one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active, but we've never seen it heal. This moves all of the damage from one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active on a basic Pokemon. We've seen this attack before on non-basics. I don't think we've ever seen this attack before on a basic Pokemon, especially on a basic Pokemon that can be so conveniently set up in a Rockets deck because the energy cost is a Psychic and a Colorless, which combos with Team Rocket's energy. So this Wobbuffet seems really, really good as a one-of. Same thing with like the Articuno. If you're building the Mewtwo deck, you're playing one Articuno, you're playing one Wobbuffet, and we're gonna go ahead and skip a little bit ahead here to talk about this next card. This is how you're setting up all these cards super easily. It is the Team Rockets Proton. You may use this card even on your first turn going first. So on your first turn going first, you can still play this. It is a supporter card. Search your deck for up to 3 basic Team Rockets Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. That's super good, not by itself, but because of the Team Rockets receiver. If you forgot what this one does, it searches your deck for a Team Rockets supporter card, excuse me, and puts it into your hand. So you could just like play like 2 Team Rockets Proton, but you're playing 4 Team Rockets receiver. So even when you go first, or if you choose to go first, you got turn 1 Team Rockets Proton to start to set up your bench instantly, and then from there, your Proton's probably not as good anymore at that point, but the Team Rockets receivers are still great to find your Giovanni, or to find the Archer, or to find the Team Rockets Ariana. Like this whole Rockets engine, supporter Rockets engine, is just becoming ridiculously strong with these 2 new supporter reveals. Hopefully they don't reveal anymore, because this is already kind of feeling a little overwhelmingly good, to be honest. This is like the really powerful part of the Team Rockets cards, is this supporter engine here that they have given the Team Rockets cards, to be honest. And there's one more Team Rockets supporter here revealed as well. Search your deck for 1 trainer card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So Skyla has returned in the form of a Team Rockets card, and honestly, this one is definitely worse than pretty much all the other Team Rockets supporters, but you'd probably still play it as a 1-of, so that way Team Rockets receiver effectively turns into any trainer card in your deck. The versatility and flexibility of that combination is still really powerful. This as a supporter in general is just kind of weak. So you'd still probably play it as like a 1 or a 2 of in your Rockets deck, but it's not as crazy as the rest of them, to be honest. This is like the least crazy supporter that the Team Rockets deck has access to, but more is always better. We're always down for more options. That always makes things stronger. Well, we're not always down for more options. Sometimes things get too good to the point where we wish they didn't exist, but I don't think Team Rockets is quite there yet, because I think the Mewtwo is still just good, but nothing crazy. But there were some more Team Rockets cards revealed that we'll get to in just a second. Let's talk about the Annihilape here first. Stage 2, 150 HP, Vessel of Rage. If this Pokemon has 2 or more damage counters on it, the attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then for 2 fighting energy, it does 160 damage. So hopefully we have found a way to get damage counters on the Annihilape, so we're hitting for 280 damage. And then during your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Impact Blow. Seems okay. The question is, how many Annihilapes need to be printed before Annihilape just becomes good? There's like only a finite... Actually, there's technically like infinite numbers of combinations of stats and words and attacks that you can put on an Annihilape card. At a certain point, there has to be like a breaking point where there's enough Annihilapes in the format that an Annihilape deck is just good. I don't know if we're there yet, but a couple of Annihilapes from now, Annihilape might be broken. We'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and skip Regirock EX here because it sucks. Move on. Well, it's not terrible. Okay, we'll get into it. Giant Rock, 140. If your opponent's active is a stage 2 Pokemon, does 104 more damage for fighting triple colors. This could be an interesting inclusion in some kind of fighting deck in the future to kind of one-hit KO stage 2 Pokemon with some damage modifiers, or if it's weak to fighting. Moving on to the more interesting card though, the Rockets Golbat Crobat line. Got the Zubat here, 50 HP, 1 retreat for a Darkness Energy. Your opponent's active is not poisoned. That's whatever. We get to the Rockets Golbat. It's got that Sneaky Bite ability. When you evolve it, you can put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. We've seen this before on Golbat. And there was another card. Was it Zigzagoon, Linoon? The Zigzagoon had the ability. Did the Linoon also have an ability? And then Obstagoon had the ability where it plays 3. I feel like Linoon didn't have the ability. And then for the attack, one Dark Energy Confused rate, 30 damage. Your opponent's active is now confused. But of course, it's all about the Rockets Crobat EX here. 310 HP, stage 2. Bite Around. When you evolve it, you can put 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. And then Lethal Return for 2 Dark Energy does 120 damage. And you may put this Pokemon and discard all cards attached to it. So obviously, 2 Dark Energy combos with that Team Rockets energy. So it's a single energy attachment per turn. It's got 310 HP, which is pretty tanky. So we get punched. We Lethal Return, send it back to our hand, push up another Rockets Crobat EX, something really tanky. Or you could even get a little bit more creative. You could push up something like a Mimikyu or a Klefki or a Cornerstone Ogerpon and then just cycle your Team Rockets. Wait, that Cornerstone Ogerpon is actually kind of... Wait, this is a lot better than I thought it was. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Put a couple rescue boards in there. Put like, I don't know, some Mimikyus, some Cornerstone Ogerpons, cycle between our Crobats. Okay. I get it. I see what's going on here. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, I didn't put 2 and 2 together with that. This is a lot better than I thought it was. I was like, you can push a Crobat up there. It's got 310 HP. Not everything one-hit KOs it. You're probably sad if you go up against Raging Bolt, but if you go up against stuff like Dragapult, you're probably feeling pretty good. But maybe a step better than that is pushing up a Cornerstone. Sounds better to me anyways. Rockets Koffing here. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and it takes damage from an opponent's attack, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon with Koffing in their name and put them onto your bench. The important part here is it says Koffing, not Rockets Koffing. So you can get non-Rockets Koffing and put them on your bench. And then Rockets Weezing does 40 more damage for each Pokemon in play with Koffing or Weezing in its name. Not Rockets Koffing or Weezing, but Koffing or Weezing. I don't know the best other Koffing or Weezing, but you theoretically could be playing a deck. I guess you maybe wouldn't play any other Koffings or any other Weezings. You could just play 8 Koffings, 4 Rockets, 4 non-Rockets, and then play 4 Rockets Weezing, and then the exploding mob is gonna get them. I mean, you could be hitting. I mean, you're not even hitting that hard, to be honest. I kind of like now doing the math as we're like thinking about this. as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, you're not even hitting that hard. Maybe you have to get Area Zero involved with the Terra Pokemon to widen our bench a little bit. Because if you have 5 Koffing on your bench, if you have 5 Koffing on your bench and 1 Weezing in the active, you're literally only hitting for 240 damage. That's like, it's a lot of work for not a lot of damage. Doesn't seem very good. All right, Rocket Sneasel. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each damage counter on that Pokemon. This is a pretty good attack, a pretty good 2-hit option here with the Rocket Sneasel. It does combo once again with that Rocket's energy, of course. So like, I don't know what you'd play this in. Maybe in the Mewtwo deck, maybe the Rocket's Crobat deck, but it's at an effective gust effect in an attack, which is pretty good. Being able to be like, all right, I hit something for like 200 damage, then they retreat to the bench to try and protect it. Go ahead, Rocket Sneasel. You know, it gives you an alternate way. Instead of finding Boss to close out a game on an already damaged 2-prize Pokemon, you can find the Sneasel plus an energy to do it as well. So pretty good attack. I think it'll probably find its way into a Rockets deck or two in the future. Of course, it kind of comes down to how popular Shaman is as well. That'll be a question mark for the Rocket Sneasel, but I see it. I see the vision. All right, let's get down here. We got some more trainer cards besides just the 2 supporters. These are the last 2 cards to take a look at here. I guess one thing to mention with the Rocket's Porygon Z, it's attack control R. For 2 color synergies, this attack does 20 damage for each supporter card in your discard pile with Team Rocket's in its name. We did get 2 more Team Rocket supporters, so we can be hitting a little bit harder with our terrible Porygon Z. The deck is bad. All right, Team Rocket's Great Ball. Flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for an evolution Team Rocket's Pokemon. If tails, search your deck for a basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. I don't know how good this card will actually be, to be honest, because heads is great to get the evolution. Tails, how important is going to be getting basics if we like turn 1 Team Rocket's Proton, right? Like if we go Proton turn 1, that's 3 basics. Yeah, this card is like a little bit iffy. I'm not sure how I feel with the Team Rocket's Great Ball. It doesn't seem great because of Proton. If Proton didn't exist, this card would be insanely good. But because of Proton, I'm a little bit less hype on the Team Rocket's Great Ball, to be honest. But we'll see. We'll see how things play out. Maybe you play like 2 Proton, 4 Great Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, or something like that. I could see that being your lineup, or like 3 Ultra Ball, something like that. Team Rocket's Venture Bomb. I've been seeing a lot of people like hyping this up as like a card that you combo with Monkey Dory, but I don't really see it, to be honest. Like, it does synergize with Monkey Dory technically. We'll see. Flip a coin. If heads, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If tails, put 2 damage counters on your active Pokemon. Heads, 2 on their side. Tails, 2 on your active Pokemon. Then you could Monkey Dory it over. But usually, if you're playing Monkey Dory in a deck, I think you're gonna need more than Team Rocket's Venture Bomb to be able to like activate it. I don't know. This just doesn't seem. I'm not like that. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the Team Rocket's Venture Bomb with how much people have been like talking about it with Monkey Dory. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. But that's it. That's all the new cards. The supporter engine with Team Rocket's receiver is just absolutely absurd. Getting more synergy with the Team Rocket's receiver is insane. Mewtwo seems like it's gonna be pretty good. Like all this Rocket support that we're seeing now. And I don't think we've seen all the Rockets cards yet. I have to imagine at this point we've seen most, if not all of the good Team Rockets cards. It's possible there's a couple more good ones, but I feel like we have to have seen most, if not all the good stuff so far. Let me know what you think about the new cards in the comment section down below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.